Coach Johnny Cole, you had your head down, but you are live right now on the HBCU Stroll with the coach Johnny Cole. So go ahead and take it away, Coach.
Well, hey, appreciate you giving me that introduction, and it's time for the HBCU Stroll with me, the coach, Johnny Cole. How you doing? Man, a lot of things been going on. Of course, you know it's March Madness time, and it's March Madness time in my favorite conference. So I want to just start off with the women's seed. Seeded number one, of course, everybody knows Jackson State. Alabama A&M second, Alabama State third. We got the Jaguars of Southern number four. We got Prairie View is sitting at number five. Bethune-Cookman number six. UAPB, my girl down there, she's number seventh. And Grambling is bringing up the back row. Big surprise in the basketball, men's basketball part. You know, my TSU Tigers, which won the tournament last year, you know, they barely creeped in due to a lot of injuries. They coming in at number eight, who won it all, and co-champ, let me say, I should say co-champs, was Alcorn State, who beat seeded number one. Grambling is seeded number two. Jackson State is seeded number three. Southern Jags coming in number four. Man, the men and the women finished at number four. Alabama A&M is number five. Prairie View at number six. Bethune-Cookman coming in at number seven. And as I say, those Texas Southern Tigers number eight. I wouldn't want to be Alcorn. Alcorn boys open up with Texas Southern boys. That's going to be a game to watch. You know, you can't sleep on Texas Southern, even though Alcorn won it. Grambling to be facing Bethune-Cookman. Jackson State will be facing Prairie View, and Southern and Alabama A&M will be tying the knot and getting after it. On the women's side, the strong seed and probably an NCAA bid is Jackson State will open up with Grambling. Alabama A&M will open up with UAPB. Alabama State will take on Bethune-Cookman, and you got Southern and Prairie View battling it out right there. So I just wanted to touch bases with that. My today's guest is a former player of mine. He's a head football coach. He was supposed to be on the week before, but he had some kids down at the HBCU All-Star game. He played wide receiver for me. Now he's been a very, very successful high school coach. He was the offensive coordinator at Virginia State, where he put all kind of big numbers up. And now he's the head coach of Edward Waters. My guy, we used to call him the Babe. You know, I guess we'll find out why we used to call him the Babe. But head coach Toriano Morgan. What's up, coach? How you doing?
How you doing, coach?
Man, I'm doing great. I can't complain when I get a chance to talk to somebody that came up underneath my tutelage, and I had a chance to put my hands on you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man.
How's it going down there in Jacksonville, Florida?
It's going really good. We're on spring break now. Going to get a chance to get around and catch a couple programs, and then when we come back, we're going to hit the ground running with spring ball. So excited about that.
Yeah, I admire you, coach. Of course, I keep up with most of my players playing. Man, you know, how's the family? I know that wife is somewhere near. You know,
Yes.
so we got to give homage to the wife because she's been a great partner of yours.
Yeah, she's been great, very supportive, you know, especially doing all the moves from Florida to Virginia, back to Florida, back to Virginia, now back to Jacksonville. So I couldn't ask for a better soulmate, and you know, she keeps me grounded.
Well, I don't think people understand this profession because it's hard. It's hard on families, and
Hmm.
I can't say enough about you and her partnership because it takes a strong woman to continue to load up and pack up and move. I know I've moved almost, I think in my career, 12 times uh, uh, in a 30-some year span. So that's almost every 3 years you're moving.
Right. And you know, you find somebody that firstly, they have to not only buy into your dreams and your aspirations, but understand, your goals. And again, the coaching is a profession, and sometimes you have to make that those moves, especially when you're in the ascension stages of your career. You do well, you're rewarded with another opportunity, and oftentimes that opportunity might not be in that same state, and you just have to have the right person with you to support the vision and the dream. And
Yeah,
I've been blessed to find that.
yeah, right. How is the kids doing?
He's doing good. So he's actually in spring football now. So
Oh,
they're he got his first full pad practice tomorrow. So gonna rush back down to check that out, and just kind of being able to watch him come along and grow in the sport. And he's got it. And when I tell you that, when I say it, I'm talking about like the love and the passion for the sport. He gets his grade. So I couldn't ask for a better child. I know everybody probably says that about their child, but he's with me every step of the way. He's there on the sideline, he's there at practice, and then just to kind of watch him be able to get out and model what he sees is is,
yeah,
is a great opportunity.
yeah. I like to really, when I talk with head coaches Toriano, to make sure that that part of their life and their career is important. To make sure. But man, it's all about you. Was it being in coaching? Did you ever fathom that you would be a head coach now of a college?
Well, it was always a dream of mine. I got a chance, and I'm not just saying this, coach, because I'm on your show, but to sit back. And when I was in college, and some guys, they have the aspirations of the 15-year career. I wanted to be the head coach of a HBCU. And that was a testament to you and of course Coach LC. You coming up as the offensive coordinator, just to kind of see the type of operation and program that you guys were running and what you instilled in us. Made it definitely worthwhile. So it was definitely something that wanted to get into. So when I was blessed to do it, it was something awesome, man.
Well, I want you to know that you're a hot name now. You're a hot commodity. You went into Edward Waters and you took over a losing program. Coach Ruffin before you done a lot of great things to build a foundation. And as we talk about not when you come into a bad program, people want to tear everything down. You knew better to build off of what he started.
Absolutely. The foundation was there, and I kind of came in and caught the momentum of it. Moving from NAIA to NCAA Division Two, moving into the SIAC, which I know you're very familiar with. So I caught the momentum, at the right time. Was able to put together, a great staff, and we're excited about what's going on. We knew it was going to take time, so I appreciate the administration for them understanding that Rome wasn't built overnight, and we gotta put the work in, roll our sleeves up and get the sweat equity, and that's what we're doing, and we're excited about the future and what's to come.
Yeah, yeah. Well, without a doubt, you guys finished in the middle of the pack. You finished strong at the end of the year. I had a pleasure watching y'all play. Uh, you
Right.
know, and one thing that you're good at and you're known at, and I love it, is that you can dial them up. You the offensive coordinator, and you dial the plays up. Kind of where did you get your style and your feel of things, and because you put up big numbers, you put up big
Well,
numbers.
you got a chance to watch it firsthand, coach, and things we were doing back in our run at Tennessee State, if you really think about it now, it's still coming into fruition. And, you'll hear it on a commentator say it. And we were no huddle before it was no huddle to that extent. The substitution rule is Johnny Cole rule. So innovation has always been something that's intrigued me, and just to kind of watch, firsthand what we were able to do there, and be able to do my best to kind of model it, and again ask questions. And I don't think there's ever been a time that I picked up the phone to call and say, "Well, coach, what do you think?" And you've always been a straight shooter, so it's always been, "Hey, coach, I think that's the worst idea you could ever do." But at the same time, you're like, "Coach, you're doing some great stuff." So just from that, and then not being able to be afraid to go out and learn. So like even this week here, we've got our staff out throughout the country going to look at different programs, and we can't be ashamed to get better, and that's what we want to do in all phases of the game.
Yeah, let's talk about that rule, and that's a true story. That when we were at Tennessee State, we were playing East Illinois, and I would let the clock go down to what, about 12,
12
15,
seconds,
12
15 to
seconds.
12 seconds.
Yeah,
Yes.
and let's just say I had regular in the game, two wide, two back, one quarterback, and then next thing you know, I run all wide receivers on with 12 seconds left before the ball is snapped, and then all the big people run off the field, and then now we line it up in no back, and they still in regular defense, and then sometimes they try to run an extra DB on the field or something, and it's a penalty. I mean, that coach, I know that defense coordinator had heck that game day. You remember that
Right.
game? And I think the quarterback for
Yes.
East Illinois was
Tony Romo.
Tony Romo.
Hmm. And then it was also when you start to think about a couple years ago, the Super Bowl. I think it was the Patriots against the Rams, and they were saying that was what Belichick was doing, because there's a cutoff time that once you get the play into the quarterback or the defensive player, that the radio system goes off. So he would purposely hold it to 15 seconds and bomb, get the play in, and then give the defense a chance to make the adjustment. So watching it, I was like, I've seen that somewhere.
Well, I tell you what, one of the biggest things was during that course of the game, we would catch a pass or run the ball down, and we got big people in the game, and we're on the 3 yard line. Then also you got flanker formation, which if somebody didn't know is two tight ends and a wide receiver or big
Right.
personnel. Or you got five wides, you don't call the ball down to the 3 and you line up in five wides again, and they get the chance to run that extra defensive back on either two. And then next thing you know, you running linemen, fullbacks, running backs, and then now you sitting there with big formation. They got dime nickel
They got a
package on
dime
you.
and nickel personnel in.
And then you walk in the end zone. I
Yep.
thought that was I thought that was, and I think the refs even met at halftime because they hadn't seen it before.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so that was a great experience, and I've gotten the opportunity to see you, and you went up and played in the CIAA, right, at the
Yes.
T State, and
Yeah.
you've put up some numbers. Are those some of the things that you kind of entwine in what you do offensively now?
Absolutely. Being able to script the play, coach, we still start practice off even to this day, screens and draws. And we want to make sure that that's incorporated into it, and that we understand conceptually what we're trying to do, and we set the goals. And just the kind of the same mantra in which we same mantra in which I've learned it. And you gotta be a special kind of excuse me for a lack of better term, but a fool to go away from something that you know and you've seen work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so when you've got the opportunity to see it, you know, you kind of get a foundation of what works and what didn't. And I appreciate you because I know you probably, you know, had to have tried some things and maybe they weren't a good idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate I appreciate you for taking that ill so I don't have to. But you know,
No.
the innovation part has always you know been intriguing to me. So
Yeah.
and that's where a lot of the success has come, not being afraid to think outside the box and be who you are, what your talent allows you to do.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things, Toriano, when you're looking at just this game as a whole, is an egotistical game.
Hmm.
And I think some coaches get off into, you know, I'm this and I'm that. You know, my thing has always been, where can I find the edge?
Right.
Where am I good at and where am I weak at and where they're good at and where they're strong at? And a lot of what I think coordinators should do is not just going there with this. This is what we gonna do. You know,
Right.
we're a throwing team, so we gonna throw the ball, and then not give the defense some credit uh,
Right.
of what they're strong at. What is your
Right.
thoughts?
Well, I think firstly, as a coordinator, offensively and defensively, your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator have to be in sync. To not have them be able to kind of communicate during the game with a true honesty, you know, that's counterproductive, I guess, to what you're trying to do. So to kind of get back to your question, one of the vivid conversations that I used to have, you know, at Virginia State was with our defensive coordinator. He'd come on the offensive side and say, Coach, I got him. I kind of got him figured out. So listen, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, go after him. I got him. We can hold them. So, and I think that just goes to playing to your strengths as a whole. And you know, often times, you know, there were scenarios in my coaching career where, you know, they're like, Coach, I need a 1-2 series to figure this out. And if you can get us on a drive here, I'll get it figured out. So I think just think it's the you know the most important piece is the communication that you have in game and understanding what you're trying to accomplish, not just as a good offense or a good defense, but as a team and making
Yeah.
sure everybody's on the same page.
Coach, I'll talk about some of the things that I look at. Tell me how, or when you're looking at film with your super offensive mind, how much does their personnel, the defense's personnel, tell you what you're gonna do?
Coach, that's the first thing I'm looking at is where Scooter and where's Dennis when we can when we can exploit a matchup or how we can what formations are favorable to us to give us the opportunity to exploit certain matchups. And we want to you know get our guys the ball.
Mhm.
You know, you like to think that you did a great job of recruiting, so the guys that know what to do with the football, you want to get it into their hands. So
Yeah.
once we do that, you know, we look at, you know, our script. What we'll say is our 20-play script, 15-play script, whatever we're calling it, and we actually count out how many times our dudes are touching the ball,
Hmm.
um, and making
Hmm.
sure that, you know, early on in the game that, you know, we're getting them the football to you know, kind of set the tone as far as being able to be productive.
You know, for coaches, former coaches, present coaches, I wanted to make sure they didn't hear just what you said. You said, make sure, well, I'll just put it in my terms, make sure that my playmakers
Hmm.
are getting the football. We just
Correct.
not out there calling plays. We calling plays towards our playmakers. And
Correct.
we also, with formations, we're putting them in in those positions to get the ball, whether it's motion or whether it's a lineup. Is
Correct.
that
No, and that's it. You can get the same guy, the same ball on the same play, but make it look five or six different ways.
yeah, yeah.
And that's just where the innovation of getting him. The starting point is where he starts. The finish point is where he touches the ball. So how do we get him to where we want him to be, touching the football? That becomes the question. So you know,
You
it's
know,
it's.
one of the great things, I don't mean to interrupt you, coach, but
Oh,
one
you
of the
good?
great things about our team back at Tennessee State is I had so many players.
Yeah,
You know, we played so many. I mean, we probably played five backs, and
right,
everybody bought in, and because that's important. We'll talk about today's player compared to then. Uh, that everybody is involved in the game.
right. And I think everybody understood their role. And when you go back and you look at, I guess from our era, the use the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls as a example, everybody knew the game on the line is going through Jordan. But it was going to be Paxson and Kukoc spotting up, shooting a three. We
Right.
knew Rodman was getting the rebound. So I think the buy-in is everybody understanding what their strengths and their weaknesses are. And it translated over to football as well, man. We knew who the screen guy was. We knew who could catch the ball out of the backfield. We knew, listen, we're going to put Butterfield in this slot, and all 4-2 of him is going up this seam, and you
Right.
don't have an answer for it. And we knew we're gonna put C Love on that dig right behind it. So
Right.
it
Right.
was, it,
Right.
you know, it
Right.
was, it was being able to assess the talent that we have, but maximize what everybody's strengths and their opportunities were to be able to be successful.
Yeah, yeah. You know, people often, when I'm talking now, of course, I'm not on the sideline, but I deal with kids. I worked in the school district now. You know, well, kids are different. Kids are different. Kids are different. And I get that. I mean, I wouldn't say they're different. I think they have more options now.
Mhm.
You know, and the thing about it to me is, and I always tell people, well, football is a team sport. You
Right.
know, it's not an individual sport. And don't get me wrong now, you need some Jimmys and Joes. You
Mhm.
know, you need some Jimmys and Joes. But I think it's very important that you get everybody or at least try to buy in to the program. I think that's very, very important. And I think my brother LC done a great job of that, of getting our staff to buy into what we were doing.
Right. And I think that's where it starts, Coach. When you're a player, you can look at the staff and you can tell the cohesion or the lack thereof. And
Mhm.
if there's not that cohesiveness, I don't know how you can expect it from a team. But the one thing that I guess we're dealing with now that wasn't as prevalent back in our day, and just talking about my era, growing up as a player, all the way through coaching. What we're seeing now is a lot of these young men that are jumping into this transfer portal. Ultimately, have gone to 2, 3 high schools. So it's that mantra. If it doesn't work out my way, then I'm transferring. Whereas it was more, you got to earn your keep at this particular. You literally got to beat this man out to win this position. Not because I don't win this position, I'm transferring. So I just think the accountability and sometimes the message and the way we package the message to these young men, presents opportunities for.
Yeah, and it's so important, you know, to get these kids to buy in. And I think the thing that some coaches don't understand is you coaching the kid underneath the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
When I go and watch a team or I come out and watch, I'm looking, is the socks the same? Is the shoes the same? Is it a towel? Is it a rag? Is how are they cohesively dressed the same as well? And when I don't see that, I don't see an organized team.
Right.
When I see one coach shirt out his pants and a hat tilt to the side and a lot of these coaches, Toriano, they get away from coaching talent.
Right.
And the thing about coaching talent is get out the way.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you got to deal with coaching talent is make sure he's at the meetings on time and doing what he's supposed to. You
Yep.
know,
Make sure
but
you don't mess it up.
but right, but the coach to me is the one who can coach and don't have as much as talent, but he got talent in different places. Uh, and that's important, if I'm talking to some coaches, is that, all this, I'm a player's coach. Well, my philosophy is I'd rather a player respect me first and then like me second. Because he understands that I care about him and his well-being because it's going to be life way after football.
Correct. And coach, you're right. And the fact that we're sitting here having this conversation is a testament to that. Was it now 15, 20 years later, we can still pick up the phone and I can still call you and listen, you still the same Coach Cole today you was back you was back then. But no, you're absolutely right when it comes to the cohesion part of it and understanding that firstly, coaching is a profession and we have to make sure that we protect the profession. And every time that the cameras are on us, we have to make sure that we're treating it like that. Unfortunately, and I guess it's an unfortunate thing, but at the same time, it's a fortunate thing. The coach has oftentimes more influence on a young man uh, than anybody in his life. If it's church, when they won't go to church, when they won't go to school, when they won't come home, they'll take their behind the practice. So oftentimes that coach has the ability to have the most influence as far as molding him. So we have to be cohesive and understand that we're being cherished with not just a ministry but an obligation if we wholeheartedly undertake it to making sure that we're pouring just more than X's and O's into these young men.
Yeah, yeah. And that's my next thought was what makes a good assistant coach? What makes a good head coaches? And I think sometimes assistant coaches don't understand the position of a head coach. They think they do. And of course, everybody want to make the money. I want to
Right.
make the money, but they don't want to come what goes with it. And I know me as a coordinator and me as a head coach, I coach my coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I coach. I'm not afraid to coach my coaches. When I had my staff at Texas Southern, I had L.C. Cole was a head coach, Melvin Spears was a head coach, Kevin Ramsey was an NFL, University of Georgia, University of Tennessee coach, and I coached them. I
Right.
I coached them, and I wasn't afraid. And then the young coaches who consistently make mistakes, some of them takes it personal, and they hold on to it instead of learning from it. And then when they move on, they can use some of the same things and same
Right.
uh, to make their programs better. Uh, what's your thoughts on that? I know I get a lot of guys kind of hold things against me of how I coach them when they work for me, and that's okay for me because I know what's in my heart.
Right.
That I cared about them and their family, and at the end of the day, coach, we won the championship.
Mm-hmm. So I guess for me, before you can lead, you got to know how to follow. And um, as we loosely use this term that floats around now, servant leadership. I didn't realize how much better of an assistant coach I could be until I had been to Dillard, been the head coach there, and then came back to Virginia State and worked with Coach Barlow. Because as a head coach, you got your eyes in so many places doing so many things. And oftentimes you have that thought, man, why doesn't he just know to do this? Why do I have to tell him? So it gave me a perspective of when I ever got back to being an assistant coach, which was with Coach Barlow, that I was like, I kind of know now what I expected of me, and I didn't want to short him on anything. So, and it's always coach, like you said, coaching coaches, especially the young coaches. They don't know what they don't know oftentimes, and then oftentimes, like you said, coach, it's never personal.
Right,
We're trying to accomplish a common goal. So
right,
oftentimes, it's not disrespectful, but you can't be afraid to have the tough conversation. Listen,
right,
if you're not doing a good job, you need to know you're not doing a good job. So,
right, 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 right. Man, and coach, I look, I remember my days with you, and you was a kid that had a lot of heart. Wasn't as talented, but smart, hungry for the information, and you got better. And you were young, and I remember I was on you. I was on you
yeah,
hard because one of the things that I can remember about you, and we've never even discussed this, uh, was you. I ain't gonna use the word idolize, but you really looked up to the guys that were in front of you, which
hmm,
which you had reason to, because I mean, Corey, Butterfield, Hall, the wideouts we had was they were pretty good,
right,
and here's the thing that I would give advice to a coach or a position coach especially is don't let the guy that don't play just come to the meetings. You remember when I used to put you on the spot?
yeah,
Because I wanted
yes,
you, I didn't want you to get lost like, oh man, I ain't playing, I'm gonna sit. Because that's why about the portal, and I'm saying this about the portal to kids that want to jump in the portal. A lot of things take place in 4 years, you know,
hmm,
and you're sitting there, you looking at this All American in front of you, and boom, boom. Then next day, next week he get in trouble doing something. Now it's your time. But if your
right,
mind and head ain't there, then when you get your opportunity,
yep,
it ain't gonna happen. So I made sure, Toriano Morgan, Coach Morgan, that you just wasn't coming to my meetings, sitting in my meetings saying, well, I ain't gonna play, I'll learn it tomorrow. I made you learn it just as good as they are. And I can remember that you knew the offense. You knew you
yep.
could jump in there and play.
And I remember you put me on that board, and you used to say, no, don't learn no route. You better understand the entire play. And now this was funny. I remember I came in and I drew on the board. I drew X's and O's. He was like, you said, no, those people got names.
I didn't know if you remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. No, my philosophy, coach, and you know it, is I coach the guys in front because I believe, and I learned that from elementary school with a couple of my coaches. You know how they put people in front. You line 1, 2, 3. Everybody else fall in line.
Right.
Well, if I'm coaching the leader number one and the leader number two and the leader number three and coaching them hard, the guys behind him know, man, this dude,
Hmm.
he coaching the best players. And
Right.
I see that a lot in high school where the coaches do not coach the best player. They let him
Right.
kind of do his thing. And I think
Right.
it's so important of organization and keeping your team together. Why I want to be on a guy so hard in the back of the line and then let the guy go in the front. But of course,
Right.
I was just telling you, I knew you was back there, but I coach you just as hard as the guys in front. But
Right.
I seen the potential.
Yes, sir. And the thing that these young men need and they want when they come to practice, they want to be instructed. They want to be coached on the field and off the field. In a lot of instances, we're the only male figure that they have in their life. So, them being able to know this man cares about me, this man really wants me to see the best out of me. That means a lot for him because I make it a point, coach, to make sure I tell the entire team every practice that I love them because I know they probably not hearing
No. I one of the things that I do, and it's funny that we're even talking about having a man in the house. Statistics show that most kids that's raised with a man in the house or by a man have a less chance of going to prison. That statistics show that.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that you don't need a woman and a woman is not important because we all come from a woman. Let's
Right.
get that clear and let's get that straight. Uh, but one of the things I always used to tell my players, because 80% of them grew up in a home without a father, and I used to
Right.
say, "Where's your father at?" Or I wouldn't allow them to say, "Oh, my father ain't never been around," or "My mom, my mom raised me," because somebody helped bring you here as well. Go find your father. Go talk to your father. You never know. Kids should stay in kids' place and not an adult place. And
Right.
and I know of, that you don't know what happened between your mother and your father.
Right.
You know what I mean? Give him a chance. Find out. Go talk to him. Go find him. Make him be accountable. And if some guys that don't know where their dads are or have that attitude of, oh, my father's, go find him. Go find out what happened to him because it's tough and it's always been hard on a black man in the United States of America.
Right. And coach is saying something too because a lot of times and this is when we get back to the dialogue about it's more than X's and O's. Once you peel back the onion and you find out why this young man is acting out the way he's acting out, if he does, you're able to get to the core of it. And what we oftentimes find out, the young man's feelings has been hurt. Um, he's been failed by adults, and he just doesn't know how to say that. So oftentimes his temperament or the manner in which he carries himself is a cry for help. Football is where we meet him and we're able to actually get him to the point to where we're able to help him because he's not just gonna come knock on your door and say, you know what, my father hurt me, my mother hurt me. You get the chance to kind of get to this point by this great game of football that
Yeah.
we so passionately love.
Yeah, I mean, I've had an experience where a kid just avoided me all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I had an opportunity to sit him down and talk with him, and he just said, "Coach, you just a bunch of words. You just when I hear you, you just coaching, you just motivating us." And as I got to talking to him, he was from a single mom, and of course, she dated this guy, and he came to the house, and they had arguments. She dated another guy, and dated, and he started from a kid. So what did he learn? He learned disappointment from men that
Right,
comes in, date his mother, the next thing you know, they don't work out. Come in, date. That's why it's important, and I tell my daughters that it's important that who you date and who you bring around your kids if it ain't his father. And
right,
in saying that, at the end of the day, that was the biggest thing. He had a wall up that said, "You gonna disappoint me too, coach. Yeah, you just
mm-hmm.
telling me something, but you really don't care about me, the person. You just doing your job." And and,
Right,
and, and coach, that's what I love about historically black college and university athletics. Black men are there coaching these kids like they're their own sons. And that's
yes,
why my
sir.
hat goes off to you and all the other head football, basketball, softball. coaches in Black college.
Yep. And one thing, on our staff, we have a rule, and it's you can love them hard and you can coach them hard, but you can only coach them hard if you love them hard. But if you coach him hard, he better not leave that locker room before you go back to him and help him understand what not your tone, but what your message was, because he can stay home and get cussed out and told that. This is college. we're
Yeah,
we're here to make them better.
right.
So we that's one thing we all oftentimes make sure that we take pride in, and that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. It's very important, and I think that's what you get, and that's why black college players, you don't hear them after they get through playing ball, robbing a bank, throwing some girl up against the wall. You don't hear that about superstar black college players in the pros. If you notice the ones that do make pros, and during the time I was coming up and in the 80s and 90s, we had a lot of black college players in the pros. You
Right.
don't hear them getting in trouble. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's more so the black player that came from the PWI, because nobody has set him down. Nobody has showed him that it's more to this than the X's and O's.
And that's the reality of it. And oftentimes it's just my first encounter with HBCUs was the Orange Blossom Classic. Coach, I went to see FAMU play North Carolina A&T down at the Orange Bowl, and I was amazed. Black bands, black officials, black coaching staff. That was totally contradictory to everything I had seen on TV and and in person. So, my point is, when you have these relationships like that with these young men, and you're able to reach them not just athletically but emotionally, the lessons stick.
Yeah,
And you can hear in your mind, hey, I better not do this. Coach said, well, okay, coach, I got it.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So we talked about. So what about Toriano Morgan? I mean, we not running you from Edward Waters, uh, but what is your ultimate to go? And I know you got a 2-year plan and a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan, because I hate to say it, but Edward Waters, you're not gonna be able to keep a Toriano Morgan. Not that you don't want to be there. It's just like the Deion Sanders deal, man. You got to go with them 5 million, coach.
right. I hope I don't rub nobody the wrong way, but I think that the Dallas Cowboys are really prolonging their winning because they waiting on me to come. they wait, they're waiting on me to come show them the way. But no, coach, I just want to continue to get better, um, be a significant fixture in these young men's life, and where it takes me. But as you said, I'm happy right now, so I want to put that out there. But coach, it's one of those things. Where God leads me, um, I'll go. But ultimately, it's to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Put it
Yeah.
out there.
Well,
I know you probably saying, Coach, okay.
look, coach. I've seen you as a seven. I've seen you as an 18-year-old. I look. I couldn't shake you. I would be. I couldn't shake you.
At
Look,
all.
I couldn't shake you, coach. You could run the heck out of that Ohio route. You could
Yes,
catch it and
sir.
keep your feet in.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
you know. All right, coach. So I'm gonna let you put me on the spot. Give me your favorite Johnny Cole story.
Ooh, woo. Okay. So I have this great idea is that I was gonna come into your office and explain to you that I knew the offense just as good as you did, and you put me on that doggone board,
Yeah.
and you asked me to draw up the play, and this is where the prerequisite to was don't teach me the route, teach me the entire play.
Right.
But you didn't tell me that I had to draw the defense that it was gonna be up against too. And so you sat there and you didn't say anything. And you said, okay, well, you're done. You say, listen, if you ever come in here and decide that you're going to tell me about this play, you better draw the whole play and the defense up. He said, you might know it good enough just to be you, but you don't know it good enough to be me. I'm the hobo, baby. What you want?
Yeah, I remember that, Coach. Hey, look, every challenge I've done, with you guys, I gave y'all guys homework. We would come
Yes.
back. We would go over the homework. We would make sure that everybody knew everybody's position. And that's how you were able to get on the field. Uh, Coach Morgan
Here
got
we go.
yeah. Hey, and I think we were sharp, Coach. We were sharp. Everybody, like I said, kind of bought into what was going. How's your team now? You going into your second year, right?
I'm going into the third. Going into
Yeah,
third.
third year. I'm sorry, your third year. And you got some of the kids back. Do you got most of your kids back for the third year, or you still kind of getting your recruits in?
No, we got them back, and then we added some pieces to the puzzle. We got a young man at quarterback we're excited about. Uh, Running back as well, so solidified, and we invested heavily year one and two in offensive line, so we got them back, and then we got the defense worked out yesterday. So this year, so we're really excited about these young men that we got coming back, coach, and we think they can do some really really special things. And we're just excited, man. We just want to take it one practice at a time. So we get rolling here next Monday, and we're good to go.
Yeah, real quick too, Coach, because I know how important too. Before we get off of here, is a head coach is only as good as his staff. Can you want to introduce your offensive staff and then go to defense because you got a new. Well, let's start with the defense because you got a new defense coordinator.
Yeah, we ended up going with Mike Fanoga. So Coach Fanoga is been around, man, for a while. Had some really successful defense. We had the opportunity to work together at Virginia Union. He's been with Hal Mummy with that air raid phenomenon over the years. So he's won national championships. He's been at the University of Kentucky and just done some great things. So bringing experience and the organization that we're looking for as far as the defense is great. Right there with them, we got Coach Fred Alexander, who's an up and coming, phenomenal defensive line coach. We can't say enough about this young man. He's the fire to the staff. He's a young man that gets it. He definitely is a hard worker and gets it. Our special teams coordinator is Coach Mike Page. He's right here from Jacksonville, so he brings that homegrown roots to here to be able to connect us to the city and all of that good stuff there. And he went to West Virginia, so we get a chance to you know bond with that aspect of it, and I guess move to the offensive side. And I guess I would be remiss if I didn't say that I work with a legend on on it. Coach Brian Jenkins. He's our offensive coordinator who's done a phenomenal job. Had a great run down at Bethune-Cookman as the head coach there. Then moved on to Alabama State, and he's doing a phenomenal job for us right now. Running back coach turned it over to actually one of our former players. He's a grad assistant. And again, he's one of those young men that had ambitions
Coach kind of blinked out a little bit. He was introducing his staff, uh, but I know they got a very good staff down there, and hopefully he jumped back on, having a little technical difficult. Let me see.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, for a second. Go ahead.
Okay.
You got about 1 minute.
All right. So wide receivers, we got Coach T.Y. Conyers, and offensive line, we got another young man that actually played for me, Coach Addison Hayes. So I'm really excited about this talented group of guys.
Yeah. Well, Coach, man, thank you. As always, and it's always a pleasure you coming on the show and being a guest. And man, I can't say enough about you and your staff and your career, and I wish you well in that area. Is it real last thing I can get you in your last words? Coach is kind of falling off. Can you hear me, Coach?
Yeah, I got you now. It just started going out. I got you now.
Well, real quick, let us have your last words.
Well, Coach, again, I think your platform is amazing. Appreciate you having me. All the listeners out there that have probably never heard of Edward Waters University, hope we were able to turn you guys into some fans, something that you want to be able to follow. And again, just thank you, Coach, for everything that you've been to me personally, everything that you've been to college football. You have definitely molded some talent. Myself, Jimmy, Kenton, and we oftentimes, get together, talk about, just our great experiences and what you've meant to us as far as instilling in us, the roots of offensive football for us. So appreciate you, Coach.
Well, I appreciate you again, and I'll be in touch with you. Still probably told you I was gonna get down there and make sure that I put my real eyes on you. But I know you're gonna be successful. Again, appreciate it. Tell Coach Jenkins I said hello, and I'll be talking with you.
I appreciate you, Coach, for sure.
All right, that's the show of the day. Toriano Morgan, head football coach, Edward Waters University. Check him out. Follow their team. They're down in the SIAC. They are official members now. They can go for the championship. My last words, as usual, if you feel yourself at the end of the rope, tie a knot, hold on tight, because ain't nobody bad like you. And that is the show for the day. I'll see you guys next week with another special guest. I want to say thank you for continuing to follow my show. We'll be on next week, same place, same time.